In August 2023, two brothers, Samuel and Samson Ogoshi, were pulled from their home in Lagos, Nigeria, and put on a plane. Their destination, a federal courthouse in Michigan, halfway across the world. This was a landmark achievement, a rare extradition that sent shockwaves to the world of international cybercrime. The brothers were accused of running a digital empire feared from the other side of the globe, believing they were untouchable ghosts in a machine. But their downfall didn't begin with a high-stakes FBI raid. It began with a single, heartbreaking text message from a 17-year-old boy to his mother. "Mother, I love you." This is a story about a new kind of global crime, one that turns privacy into a weapon and secrets into a death sentence. It ends with global manhunt, but it starts with the quiet desperation of a teenager. The crime is called financial sextortion, and in 2023, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NCMEC, received over 26,000 reports of it, a massive jump from just over 10,000 a year before. These aren't just statistics. They are thousands of lives, primarily young boys, thrown into chaos by predators who think borders will protect them. The criminals in this case, the Ogoshi brothers, certainly thought so, but they were wrong. They underestimated the relentless reach of American justice and the resolve of a grieving family. What began with tragedy in a small Michigan town would unmask a sprawling criminal enterprise, proving that no matter how far they run, justice can and will find them. To everyone who knew him, Jordan DeMay was a kind-hearted, popular 17-year-old senior at Marquette Senior High School. He was a homecoming king, a star athlete on the football and basketball teams, and was looking forward to his upcoming graduation. But in the private world of his direct messages, a devastating trap was being set. It started with a seemingly innocent friend request on Instagram from an account named Danny.Roberts. Jordan believed he was flirting with a girl his age. The chats escalated, and the person on the other end convinced him to send an explicit photo of himself. The moment he hit send, his life changed forever. The friendly girl persona vanished, replaced by a storm of cold, calculated threats. The account wasn't a girl named Danny. It was a hack profile operated by a group of men in Lagos, Nigeria, who were systematically hunting for victims. They demanded $1,000, threatening to send the image to his family and friends, whose accounts they had already screen-grabbed. Panicked, Jordan sent what little money he had, around $300. It wasn't enough. The demands intensified. The threats grew more vicious, and Jordan felt his world collapsing. He sent a final, desperate message to his blackmailers, telling them he couldn't pay and that he was going to take his own life because of what they were doing. Their response was inhuman. "Good. Do that fast," one message read. Or, "I'll make you do it. I swear to God." Less than 6 hours later, on March 25th, 2022, Jordan DeMay died by suicide. His family was left with unimaginable grief and a terrifying, urgent question. Who did this to their son? When the Marquette County Sheriff Department and the FBI began to investigate Jordan's death, they treated it not just as a tragedy, but as a homicide. They followed the digital trail of breadcrumbs, which, though deliberately obscured, led them across the Atlantic Ocean. Agents from the FBI's Michigan field office tracked the communications and financial transactions to Nigeria. There, they didn't find a lone scammer, but a sophisticated, organized ring run by two brothers, Samuel and Samson Ogoshi, who were 22 and 20 at the time. Operating out of Lagos, the Ogoshi brothers ran their sextortion scheme like a well-oiled machine. They used hacked social media accounts to pose as young women, lure unsuspecting boys and men into sending compromising images, and then ruthlessly extort them for money via payment apps. To launder the money, they used a network of accomplices in the United States, creating a complex financial web that was difficult to trace. Their operation had targeted over 100 people across the U.S., including at least 11 minors. This case was a stark example of a global crisis. Research from NCMEC and the tech nonprofit Thorn shows these schemes are increasingly run by organized groups, primarily for Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire. They specifically target teenage boys, with 90% of victims being males between 14 and 17 years old. The business model preys on the intense fear and shame that prevents so many victims from speaking out. For the FBI, the investigation was no longer just about Jordan. It was about dismantling an entire factory of fear. But the challenge was immense. Bringing the Ogoshi brothers from a sovereign nation to face American justice would require an extraordinary international effort. U.S. Attorney Mark Totten made a promise. "We will track you down and hold you accountable, even if we have to go halfway around the world to do so." Getting justice for Jordan meant doing something incredibly rare: extraditing the suspect from Nigeria to the United States to stand trial. In January 2023, acting on a U.S. arrest request, Nigerian authorities located and arrested Samuel and Samson Ogoshi. For 7 months, the Department of Justice's Office of International Affairs worked tirelessly with Nigerian prosecutors to make the case for extradition. In August 2023, they succeeded. The Ogoshi brothers were put on a plane and brought to Michigan to face charges, including conspiracy to sexually exploit minors and, for Samuel Ogoshi, causing the death of a minor. In court, Jordan DeMay's parents gave emotional testimony, forced to face the men who had goaded their son to his death. The evidence, from chat logs to financial records, was overwhelming. In April 2024, both Samuel and Samson Ogoshi pleaded guilty. On September 5, 2024, a federal judge sentenced both brothers to 210 months, 17 and a half years, in federal prison, with 5 years of supervised release to follow. Attorney General Merrick B. Garland stated the sentences should serve as a warning that perpetrators cannot escape accountability by hiding behind their computers. A third defendant, Ezekiel Robert, has been ordered to be extradited but is appealing that decision in the Nigerian High Court. Meanwhile, 5 U.S.-based defendants have been charged and pleaded guilty for their role in laundering money for the scheme. The outcome of this case brings a measure of accountability, but the global threat of sextortion is far from over. This crime thrives on silence. It feeds on the victim's fear and the false belief that they are to blame. If you or someone you know is being targeted, please know you are not alone and it is not your fault. The most important step is to tell a trusted adult, a parent, a teacher, or a counselor. Do not delete the messages. Do not send any money. Cease all contact with the criminal and report it immediately. You can contact the FBI through their tip line or your local police. Resources are also available 24/7 from a National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Help is available, and reaching out is the first move to take back control. Out of their unimaginable tragedy, Jordan DeMay's parents, Jennifer Buta and John DeMay, have become powerful advocates for change. They have bravely shared their son's story to warn families about the dangers lurking online, turning their private grief into a public mission to protect others. Their advocacy has helped push for legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act, which aims to hold social media companies more accountable for what happens on their platforms. As Jordan's mother said after the sentencing, while no sentence that could have been given out today will bring him back, it does give some justice. The case against the Ogoshi brothers is a landmark victory in the fight against cybercrime. It sends a clear message that international borders will not shield criminals from the consequences of their actions and demonstrates the incredible lengths law enforcement will go to for justice. Most importantly, Jordan's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the real-world cost of online crime and a powerful call to action for all of us to create a safer digital world.